Real quick before we get started, I just wanted to mention that the HobbyView apparel store is open. Show your support for this channel with HobbyView branded shirts, caps, mugs, and more. Just go to hobbyview.myspreadshop.com. The fully enclosed Creality A1 Falcon Pro comes pretty much fully assembled and has a surprising amount of heft to it. I was really impressed with the packing of the unit with foam everywhere. There's a small front door, along with a large top door for complete access. Wrapped in more foam is an LCD display, power supply, exhaust tube, cables, and air pump. Again, they spared no expense on the packing foam. Buried further is a camera calibration sheet and some test wood. Yeah, that's a lot of foam. Anyways, a color manual has basic setup information for the laser with web links. The first step is to hook up the air pump to the air hose. Then attach the LCD screen. The other end of the air pump hose is then attached to the unit. Then the pump's power connector and main power connector. Oh, I should turn it off before applying power. There's also a locking key. You'll have to temporarily remove the handle on the front door in order to remove the protective film. Yeah, so cathartic. With that done, I could oogle the 20-watt laser module and its snazzy cable carrier. It all rolls smoothly on the belt-driven linear bearings. Here are the laser details on the module. Interesting spring-loaded module mount. Creality also offers a honeycomb cutting plate that is magnetic. This is really needed to protect the surface of the table and allow you to use magnetic clamps to hold parts in place. I also noted the built-in camera on the top lid. I'm really interested in how this is utilized by the machine. So with a flick of the power switch, the Falcon comes to life and makes an unnerving buzzing sound. I thought maybe the laser module was stuck, so I double-checked it and it was locked in place. Resetting the power, it looks like the buzzing has not returned. And I get the language selection screen with Chinese and English to choose from. After agreeing to their private policy, the Wi-Fi setup screen pops up to select an SSID, which the Falcon had no issues connecting to. Next is the time zone selection. Then a QR code pops up, which links to the phone app. You'll have to give it some permissions and set up an account. While holding the phone close to the unit, select the Discovery option. It will pop up on the app with the option to connect to the laser using another QR code, where a test screen will pop up. On the phone app, I found the live camera option. Neat. Poking around on the control panel, I found the touchscreen clear and responsive. There is a preloaded test image ready for engraving. So I decided to give it a try by first selecting the autofocus option. Arrgh, there's that buzzing again. I don't think it's supposed to do that. And a nice little error message. I then tried it again, but with the top door closed, and select autofocus. But this time, it asked me to close the door. What? I reset the printer, and I got the same error message. Seems something is set backwards. So I ran the self-check again. Same problem. The joys of early release models. Funny enough, the frame function seems to work just fine. So I contacted the company, which was very responsive, to tell them the door sensor seems to be in an alternate reality. And after a couple of days, they sent me a firmware update to load on the unit via USB. But when I went to turn on the printer, this happened. A dialog popped up saying it had found a new firmware version. It must have downloaded it via the Wi-Fi connection. Very convenient. Yup, it updated to a new version. Let's hope it fixes the issue. Okay, so select the image, then autofocus. Ooh, that's encouraging. Yes, it works! Frame is framing as well. Now to see if she will produce coherent light in the 400 nanometer range. Yes, now we're cooking with oil. Oh yeah, look at that. A nice clean engraving. With a working cutter confirmed, it was time to load up LightBurn and command the laser from my PC. The device's screen shows my other lasers, but the new laser didn't show up. However, on Creality's website are instructions and even config files for the Falcon. Click the connection guide and you will see steps to configure LightBurn. More importantly is to download the configuration file at the bottom of the page. Now you can go into LightBurn and import the config file. And there she is. Just select it and click OK. You should now see the communications traffic on the console monitor. Clicking the home button confirms communications to the laser. So for a simple test, I drew a basic shape on the canvas. Hit the frame button to indicate the cutting area. Then the spelling error there, the autofocus button. Which worked, at least I thought it did, which I'll get to in a moment. I took a rough guess at the power and speed, then hit the start button. Which made a partial cut, but it looked like the focus was not quite right. So I repositioned the sheet closer to the middle and redid the focus after homing the laser. Now the laser was positioned much closer to the surface of the wood. There we go, noticeably better. I found that the autofocus works best if you home the laser first, then do the autofocus. It will also remember the focus distance unless you home the head, where you will have to set the autofocus again. So, before I do some serious cutting, I needed to hook up the exhaust vent. The Falcon has a built-in exhaust fan, so I just needed to connect a hose to an exhaust port on my workshop's wall. I got a pack of 3mm light ply from Creality, so I decided to use it for some test cuts. But this time with more power! Oh yeah, like a hot knife through butter. I tried different settings, which left some scorch marks, but don't be afraid to experiment. I mentioned the cutting bed is magnetic, so I pulled out my magnet hold downs to clamp down this piece of warped balsa. And imported some RC plane parts as a test cut. I then remembered the Falcon has a camera, which I turned on to watch the cutting action on my phone. There's about a 3-second delay, but I really like the feature to be able to monitor laser if I'm not in the room. The cuts were crisp and accurate. So throughout the video, I've been using the 20-watt blue laser to do all the cutting and engraving, but it actually comes with a second laser module. In this case, it's a 2-watt infrared laser, so it's got a longer wavelength. Now that's supposed to be better for engraving metals and certain materials. Now 2 watts is not going to be super powerful, but the different wavelengths are supposed to be more effective with certain materials. So I will do a second video where I will explore how this works and how well it works in these various materials. I'm really curious to see how that works. But it is a very interesting way that they have these 2 modules that can be quickly swapped out from one to the other with no tools needed. It's just a little, just pull the thing out and pop the other one back in. Since I had the app open, I thought I'd test its other features, like the canvas function with some built-in shapes, which you can move and resize. Though I only seem to have the engrave option of selectable, but there are adjustable power settings. You still have the familiar frame and autofocus functions. But I found you don't have complete control remotely. Pressing the processing button requires one to hit the start button on the printer. But it did work. So I thought I'd try importing a picture out of my phone's album to engrave, which I thought would be pretty cool. But it just burned a single line. I tried a much smaller picture, but no joy. As a test, I imported a picture into LightBurn to engrave, which worked just fine, so I'm guessing the phone app has a bug. If you're like me, and I know I am, I like to find practical uses for a machine like this. So that's where this comes in. It's an old Easy Models loader glider given to me by a friend. However, when I got it, it needed a little bit of repair and restoration. When I got the glider, it was in pretty rough shape and missing some key wood structures. This would be the leading edge and trailing edge wing mounts. So I'll need to fabricate my own version of the mounts. The first step is make a template out of cardstock paper, which I traced around the fuselage with a Sharpie. Then cut out the shape and double check the fit. The leading edge pin will need to be dimensioned. I then marked its position on the template. I also made some other marks on the template, which you'll find out why later. Now I could take that template and scan it into my computer using a document scanner. Then I loaded up DevCAD, a program I've used for years to do things like vectorize model airplane plans. The first step is to import the scanned image into the background. There it is. Before I can trace over it, I need to calibrate it. That's why I drew those extra lines on the template. One is 1 inch long and the other is 10 millimeters long. So I set the endpoints and tell the software that each one is 1 inch, for example. Now the CAD program knows the true size of the image. Then I simply trace over it to create a vector file that I can import into LightBurn. This is then saved as a DXF file. With the vector file created, I can import it into LightBurn. Be sure to have the correct units of measurement set. And there we go. I use 2 line colors, black for cuts and blue for engraving. Press the button, Frank. A decent cut. Wing peg fits good too. And fits the fuselage. Wow, everything looks to line up perfectly. The rear mount was then cut out. Finally, they were all epoxied in place. And blind nut installed. It all felt pretty solid. But wait, there's more. I noticed the motor mount was missing, so I cut that out too. Fit like a glove. So I won't be too critical on the issues with the app, as this is the pre-release version of the Falcon A1 Pro, and I'm sure they'll work out the minor bugs by the time of the full release. Now that said, I really like the features of this laser. The autofocus is really convenient, enclosed case with multiple access doors and built-in exhaust fan, all in a relatively compact frame, plus the 20-watt laser is powerful and accurate. I also like how you can feed it images through the PC, USB, or phone app. Not to mention the handy built-in camera for safety. I also quite like the over-the-air updates. In fact, as I was setting up to record this, another update popped up and I noticed some minor changes in operation after it was completed. I think it all makes for a great first laser cutter and engraver. Hi, thanks for watching. Please take a look at the video description below for special HobbyView sales and discounts. Your purchases help support this channel. Happy modeling!